Hi guys, and welcome to our review of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio 2-litre turbo. Now, if you're watching our videos regularly on youtube.com/Motoring Middle East and facebook.com/Motoring Middle East, you would have seen that I've done a video review at the launch of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio here in the UAE. In fact, the international launch was done up at Ras Al Khaimah, and I did a video on that one. Now, because I did that video, and at the time I kind of did a full walk around of the car, I'm not really going to do that on this occasion. To be honest, it's pretty much the same. The exterior differences are there, and you'll be able to see that from the pictures in the video that I'm going to insert onto here. The only difference I would say practicality wise is that whereas that car, the Quadrifoglio, had a no spare tire, instead it had a tire repair kit and a few extra compartments under the floor in the boot, which is about average for this type of car. In this one, there is actually a spare tire, but it's a space saver tire, and it's one of those tires that it's kind of weird. You have to sort of inflate it to use it, but it's almost a full-size thing, but it's a temporary thing. Fortunately, there is an inflator actually in the boot. So that aside, this is pretty much the same car. Now, I should tell you that there's two versions of the 2-litre turbo. You get it in a 200 brake horsepower tune, which will give you the 0 to 100 time of 7.2 seconds and a top speed of 215 kilometers per hour. Or you can get this one, which is the 2-litre turbo 280 brake horsepower, which does a 0 to 100 time of 5.7 seconds and 230 kilometers per hour. Now, the 200 brake horsepower car starts at around 200,000 dirhams, which is $55,000, and the 280 brake horsepower car starts at 230,000 dirhams, which is about $63,000. They're all mated to an 8-speed automatic, of course, and with the Q4 Alpha Q4 all-wheel drive system, which is essentially a rear-biased system. In fact, it normally starts off at rear-wheel drive, but it can push up to 50% of the drive to the front. Now, like I said, with the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, this is based on the Alfa Romeo Giulia platform, which makes it quite sporty, but it's 22 millimeters higher than that car. It's also slightly wider. It still has the same Alpha Link double wishbone suspension at the front and the multi-link at the back, but the springs are longer in this car and stiffer, in fact, and we'll talk a little bit about that on the go. So really, that's all that I can say about the car that's really different. But I will also add that it's had a full 5-star rating when it comes to the Euro NCAP crash safety test, and it's got 97% for adult passenger protection in the cabin. So that's good, isn't it? So well, let's take it for a little run. Now, I've been driving this around town for a couple of days, and I've got to say that the low speed dynamics is quite fidgety. The ride is quite fidgety, and there's a little bit of a hesitancy in the controls and how they operate. I would go so far as to say that in traffic it can actually be quite jerky, because it's quite difficult to modulate the throttle and the brake in those circumstances. I don't know what it is. I think the brake particularly drive-by-wire, and I think that's some collision avoidance alarm coming on there. So it's got a full raft of safety features on here as well. And the reason it's got the collision avoidance alarm came on is because the road in front of me is populated by camels at the moment. So yeah, I might just have to edit this bit unless I can get past these chaps. I'm not sure that I can too quickly, so whilst I'm here I'll just carry on talking to you guys. So as I found, like right now we're at low speeds, and I found it quite hard work, in fact, in traffic, because you have to work at being very careful and very gentle with the controls. One of the things it does, it has a start stop. Obviously you can, I think, switch that off. It's got a full raft of menu items through this screen over here, which isn't touch. It's controlled by this knob down here. That's the only way to control that screen. I'm surprised it's not touch. The other thing I'll say about the screen is, well, the sat nav comes all the way across, so nice big sat nav on there. But when you go into reversing, you get a reversing camera on this car, but it's just a small little screen there, which is a bit odd. I would have expected a little bit more than that. But yeah, having said all of that about the low speed ride and its fidgetiness, when you're out here, and I'm going to go into that, and that's already in dynamic mode out of the DNA with dynamic, i.e. sports mode, and I've got nice big paddles here. Now the main thing I wanted to try with this car is that, you know, the Stelvio Quadrifoglio was, I thought, an incredible SUV to drive. The handling was absolutely astonishing. It was actually really good fun. Now that's 500 brake horsepower, and you're talking about, you know, over 200 brake horsepower less with this car. But can you have as much fun driving it? Now, I brought it to this little road which is really pitted and rutted and really not very nice at all, but it can be quite challenging. So that's why I've come here to see if this car, oh my goodness, it has the grip and the road holding to put a grin on my face, and as you can see, it's kind of already doing that. So but the performance is there, and oh boy, it does accelerate. Also makes a nice noise. You can use the gears. The brakes do need a little bit of an effort, because I don't know, there's something about the feel of the brakes which isn't quite giving me confidence. The steering response and accuracy is pretty good. I wish there was a little bit more feel. Sometimes it's a little bit too accurate and too responsive, I should say. The turn-in proves to be a little bit sharper than I anticipated. I'm not enjoying the gear changing as much. It's not there we go, it's banging them through. It is in sports mode, so why am I not getting a bit more of a ferocious down change? But it's able to cope. You see, funny thing is that whilst I said the slow speed ride around town was fidgety and difficult, but here it's coping with this very, very well indeed. And I guess that's why, you know, with the stiffer springs and the sportier setup, it's kind of you know, dialed into this sort of thing, really, isn't it? I mean, that's what it's sort of more about. So we're turning hard. Oh, we get a little bit of understeer, but then it grips and goes. And the thing is to push through. So I hit the rev limiter there. The engine's pretty eager. And then, you know, the thing to do though is to actually push through the understeer and trust the car, because wow, what it does, it's kind of when it transfers that torque to the front, when it realizes it's starting to lose grip, and then it kind of pulls you around. So, you know, nice bit of whoa, you know, a bit of undulation there where the road sort of turned and dipped at the same time, and you can just kind of push it over that, and it's absolutely fine. Low binging and bonging going on in this car. It's driving me a bit bonkers. Seat belts, doors, all that sort of thing. But one of the things about this car is that it doesn't really tell you why it's binging and bonging, so it just makes the noises, and you're like, what's going on? There's nothing on the screen to tell you what actually is going on. I think that does give you a seatbelt sign, and it gives you, I don't know if it gives, yeah, I think it does give you the door thing, doesn't it? Yeah. But somehow it just seems a bit confusing. Little things that need to be resolved. So this is where this car really shines. You know, it kind of, when you're pushing it on, when you're driving it hard, it's actually quite entertaining and quite enjoyable to check about, and that's probably its strongest points. Around town, I found it a little bit more of a compromise. You know, and away from the launch, having sat in the rear, you know, it can be a little claustrophobic back there. So those are things that you may be concerned with. But, you know, and the other things that you have to be concerned with, I mean, I've driven quite a lot of, you know, compact SUVs, sporty premium SUVs lately. And just off the top of my head, I can think of cars like the Volvo XC60, which is a fantastic car. And if you're looking for, you know, a family vehicle, and it's around this sort of price range, and it's a 2-litre turbo, that's the one you should get. If you're looking for something sporty, I just recently did the launch of the Jaguar E-Pace, which will also be around this sort of price, but it'll be smaller and not quite as spacious. But it would be one to consider. What else have I driven recently for a little bit more money? Actually, not a lot more money, but just a little step out from this. You were talking Jaguar F-Pace, and more particularly the Range Rover Velar. And I gotta say, the Range Rover Velar was a fantastic car. So I would definitely have that on the shopping list as well. So the problem with this car is that there's quite a few rivals that are actually very, very good, that are sitting there or thereabouts when it comes to engine size and pricing. So there you go. There's our review of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio 2-litre 280 brake horsepower version. I hope you enjoyed that. Please do check us out on motoringme.com and find us on all the social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, then please do like, share, and subscribe. You can also follow me. That'd be great. My Instagram is @ShazadSheikh, and it'd be great to see you guys there. Until the next one, see you later.